what do the Mexicans think about all the Americans that are moving here into Mexico City? Where are you from?
Chicago.
And why do you think so many Americans want to move here to Mexico City? ¿Qué es su mensaje a todos los americanos?
Que por favor.
Mexico has erupted as anti-American protesters have taken to the streets as they are against American migrants or digital nomads moving into their city, as it has raised the cost of rent and people believe it has gentrified some of the areas, which is true. A lot of the areas in La Condesa, Roma specifically, have been gentrified because of United States citizens moving to Mexico City because they can live a lot cheaper lifestyle while making US dollars inside of Mexico. So this is what happened when Mexican protesters took to the street against Americans moving into their city. And they started targeting American-owned businesses like Rip and Dip, and they also went to restaurants as they started breaking glass, and one person even had a knife as he was trying to break through the glass at one of these buildings. While locals, tourists, and Americans were inside of these restaurants and these shops, they were terrified for their life as these protesters seemed like they were going to attack. And this is what some of the protesters had to say.
Pues el día de hoy estamos luchando contra la gentrificación. La gentrificación es este proceso por el cual las personas originarias de los barrios se ven desplazadas por gente con mayor poder adquisitivo. Es decir, gente que viene de otros países, en su mayoría extranjeros, a querer imponer su cultura, sus precios y desplazar a los mexicanos, a los nativos de estas tierras.
Principalmente si van a venir a vivir a un país, tienen que contribuir a ese país, ¿no? La primera y la cuestión más sencilla es la migración legal. Ellos vienen aquí con visas o no visas, y todavía la cambio y el poder adquisitivo genera estos problemas de gentrificación y desplazamiento, ¿no?
I'm here because gentrification is just one more step towards colonization, dispossession, and the exploitation of our resources. Right now it's about the people, but it won't be long before they run out of oil, water, or lithium in other countries and come and take them from us.
And just a few months back, I actually went to Mexico City to talk with people around the area of La Condesa, as so many Americans have moved into Mexico pursuing no longer their American dream, but pursuing the Mexican dream, as they can live a lot cheaper lifestyle inside of Mexico while still making money inside of the United States with their laptop. So I hit the streets to speak with both Americans and Mexicans to see their thoughts on why so many Americans are moving and to hear what the Mexicans had to say about so many Americans moving into the city. Why'd you guys move here to Mexico?
Honestly, to have an opportunity to live in a place that's so international and it has all of the perks of a big city and metropolis, and but at the same time is kind of sexy. It's been, yeah, that's why.
What do you guys think about Mexico City?
I mean, I got here yesterday, so I'm not really sure.
You?
It's great. Yeah, it's great. It's beautiful.
Is the quality of life better here than in the United States?
I think it's comparing apples and oranges. I think there's a lot of differences that we kind of give up to live here, but things are a lot better here than they are back for, yeah.
Where are you from?
Mexico City.
And what do you think about all the Americans moving here to Mexico?
I don't understand. I don't know. Why are they here? They like it. It's cheaper.
¿Qué piensan los mexicanos de todos los estadounidenses que están viniendo aquí?
La verdad, les están quitando mucho trabajo a los mexicanos. Y aparte están invadiendo casas, o sea, se las rentan, invaden las casas y se quieren apropiar de ellas.
Ya, entonces como los mexicanos están un poco enojados con todos.
Claro que estamos enojados.
¿Y piensan que los estadounidenses deberían quedarse en su propio país?
Pues claro, porque aquí tienen todo de pechito. ¿Por qué no dejan a los mexicanos trabajar allá? Allá luego que anda la migra y eso, y los encuentran, van para afuera, ¿eh? Allá sí los regresan. Te digo porque yo tengo familiares que estuvieron allá y los regresaron.
And why do so many Mexicans want to leave to go to the United States? Because, I mean, here it looks pretty nice. We're in an awesome park. Everyone's nice.
This is an upscale place. I mean, this is an upper middle class neighborhood. But the Mexicans who migrate to the United States are in search of jobs. and better opportunities that they don't have here.
Is there a lot of gentrification that happens here inside this part of Mexico where we're at right now?
Yeah, all of this area is being gentrified. People from the United States and Europe come to live here. It's raising rents and things like that. But I don't think it's a bad thing. I mean, I don't. I'm not against that.
How much do you have to pay in rent here in Mexico City?
Rent. Here in Condesa or Roma, near here, you can pay 1,000, I don't know, 1,500 maybe.
Oh,
A month?
1,500 pesos?
Yeah. No, dollars.
Oh,
a month,
$1,500.
yes.
And you can get a pretty nice apartment and everything here?
Yes.
And what do the Mexicans think about all the Americans that are moving here into Mexico City?
Well, so far, I've been meeting people from United States, and they told me, they're scared, to Russia bombing United States, actually. Yeah.
So they're coming here to Mexico City?
Oh, yeah.
¿Y qué piensan los mexicanos de todos los americanos que están viniendo aquí?
Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honor unto the apostles and the elders of the great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, beginning with the 144,000 men, right? Mexican reprisals on Americans. All right, Mexican reprisals on Americans living in Mexico, right? It's a big movement now with Americans now coming, leaving the American dream, which is dead right now anyway, and coming to Mexico for the Mexican dream, right? But while they're doing that now, they're screwing over the Mexicans, which are the so-called Mexicans, I should say, which are the Issacharites, right? Tribe of Issachar. All right, that's what the so-called Mexicans really are. All right, and you saw the protesting, things turned violent because, and that actually happened on Independence Day, right? July the 1st was a big thing, even though the media didn't push it. All right, so you had this sentiment now, this negative sentiment against Americans or gringos, as they call them. All right. In fact, let me get the word gringo, what that word means. All right. Get gringo. Gringo. Meaning in English. Let's see. Gringo is a term in Spanish and Portuguese for a foreigner. The term usually refers to English-speaking Anglo-Americans. All right. Gringo. Let's see what it says here in the Wikipedia. Gringo, a term for foreigner. All right, the term is often considered derogatory. All right, so they show you that they don't like these gringos, right? Because what they're doing a process called gentrification, where they're displacing the original residents out of certain areas, right? And that's Esau Edom anyway. All right, that's what they tried to do in certain areas where they preferred and that Jake was living in. They gradually moved in and want to raise these so-called raise the standard of living. Right, the rent went up. Jake couldn't survive and they just took over. All right, let's go here. Gentrification. Meaning.
Gentrification.
The process whereby the character of a poor urban area is changed by wealthier people moving in, improving housing, and attracting new business, often displacing current inhabitants in the process, right? So making things more difficult, more expensive, driving up the cost of living. And that's what these Americans, and most of which are, as you can see, mainly Edomites, coming to Mexico, they are causing. All right? So they're telling the gringos to go back, these foreigners, right? They don't want any American migrants who basically coming to enjoy a lower cost of living, working with a laptop, for US dollars in America, basically, and have a lower cost of living because the rent is way cheaper. All right, what they were explaining, is that in the last 5 years, the rental rates increased by 47%, which is almost 50%. That's a lot. And they're also, angry because a lot of the visitors, the gringos, the Americans from Babylon, they have most of them have no visas. All right. In Mexico, I believe they can stay 180 days without any visa. All right. So basically Mexico has a wide open border, and they see They best believe they seen what's happening with the brothers and the sisters being deported from America by the ICE, by Trump's ICE immigration center, you know, and basically put chewing jigs in concentration camps. So they best believe that's part to play in all this, right? And what these devils doing is what they do best, these Edomites, exploiting the resources of Jake. All right? Because this man is the devil, right? The devil the Bible speaks of. Let's get some precepts here. All right, the book of Isaiah. So when this devil Trump talking about, you know, the Jake coming to America and taking the resources and all this kind of bullshit. Well, guess what? These Edomites now coming to Mexico now, you know, and they're driving up the cost of everything. All right, you know, and taking over the neighborhoods. Okay, so that the Jake can't survive. Is a tribe of Issachar catching tail. You know, best believe they're under the curses. All right, Isaiah 32 and verse 6. It says, "For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy." Right, it's damn hypocrisy. Because best believe Trump knows there are a lot of Americans living in Mexico. But it's all right, you know, because that's the double standards, these devils. All right? They have a lot of double standards. All right? These Edomites, these so-called white men, the wicked the Bible speaks of. Right? The devil. All right? You have to understand that. Okay? They have double standards. It is hypocrisy. And to utter error against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, how do you do that? By uttering error against his people. For lies, you know. To make empty the soul of the hungry, and it will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail. The instruments also of the chill are evil, so they gonna go hungry, because they can't afford a place to live. All right, they're gonna go thirsty the same way. All right, the instruments also of the chill are evil. He devised wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, and best believe it's Esau Edom. All these Edomites who flee into Mexico. All right, what's the reason they're fleeing? The prices are going up in America, and who controls the prices? It goes all the way back to the Federal Reserve, right? And the control of interest rates, inflation, etc., which is controlled by who? The banking families, namely the Rothschilds, etc. Right? So they are the ones causing all this problem. They're the problem on the earth. They are the plague, the fucking scourge on the earth, right? That's causing all these issues with Jake, you know, and he done, right? And then people, quite frankly, are fed up with these devils. It says the instruments also of the chill are evil. He devised wicked devices to destroy the poor with lying words, even when the needy speak it upright. And this is what Trump did to you Jakes, you know. You know, Ephraim was a silly dove, you know. They believed the lies of Trump, you know, and that's because, you know, a lot in part to play because of their religion, right? Jesus Christos, that's a big demon among the northern kingdom, right? A big fucking demon. And they think because, you know, they're a little fairer skinned than the southern kingdom, than Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, that, you know, and they look closer to Cesare Borgia, aka Serapis Christus, aka Jesus the Christ, that they know that they're superior. And they feel like, you know, that gives them a sense of belonging. No, it don't. Right? No, it don't. Look what Trump did to you. You all Jake all about, you know, El Presidente, you know, Trump for president, you know, and now Trump basically fucking you over. All right? Showing your ass in alligator Alcatraz. Right? This is Hosea chapter 7 and verse 10. It says, "The pride of Israel testifieth to his face, and they do not return to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai their power, nor seek him for all this," right? You know, you know, they see the men of the Lord on the highways and the byways, just like down here in Trinidad. You know, you on the highways and the byways in Northern Kingdom passes straight. You know, probably had one Northern Kingdom Jake pass on and stop at the camp. All right, they pass straight, they watch, they laugh, you know, they set up their face. All right, you know, but hey, they don't want to hear the word of the Lord. It says Ephraim also is like a silly dove without heart. All right, no wit, no mind, no can't think. It says they call to Egypt, they go to Assyria, they're going down to Babylon the Great for help. All right, they're going down to Babylon for help. But what the scriptures say about that? No, we'll come back here. Isaiah 30, I believe, 30 and 1. All right. It says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Yeah, they're seeking after the American fucking dream, you know, the adultery, fornication, you know, batty boyism, you know, lesboism, you name it, bestiality. All right, hey, they are adding sin to sin. That's what they crave after. It says they that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth, to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt, your confusion. And right now it's ready becoming the confusion and the shame. All right. Woe, this is Isaiah 31:1. Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help, you know, for jobs. You want the job, you know, all right, and stay on horses, and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horsemen because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Lord, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. This is what it is. This is why your Jake's going to be messed up and more fucked up as time goes on. No devil is going to come down with great wrath. All right? Hosea 7:12. When they shall go, I will spread my net upon them. I will bring them down as the fowls of heaven. I will chastise them as their congregation have heard. Woe unto them, for they have fled from me. Destruction unto them, because they have transgressed against me. Though I have redeemed them, yet they have spoken lies against me. And they have not cried unto me with their heart. When they howled upon their beds, they assembled themselves for corn and wine, and they rebelled against me. Rebelling against the prophets, they rebelling against the Lord. And that's what, you know, the Northern Kingdom, beginning with Ephraim, has done. Ephraim being the lead tribe of the Northern Kingdom of Israel. All right, they were deceived by Esau, deceived by Trump, and now they've seen the devil's true horns, you know, are being exposed. Right, the devil's horns are being exposed big time, and they're in shock, basically. All right, these Jake in shock, you know, basically going to be gator bait all over again. All right, alligator Alcatraz, basically a place that's sunken under the water, that's been sunken under the water. Right, when the rain falls and when floods hit, you know, the place, it goes down. Right, it begins to submerge underwater. So Jake in a bad place right now. Right, you best believe Jake in a bad place. And we told you, Jakes, that we told you what was coming. We told you that the devil wouldn't have any mercy on you. Right, but they didn't want to hear. They wanted to continue in the nonsense. Right, they wanted to continue in love of Babylon the Great. Right, you know, that's the best. So now they're feeling it. Now Jake really feeling it. You know, they are realizing now that, hey, these devils don't like us. They hate us. Right, and now they coming, you know, they coming in Mexico to avoid what? The nuclear destruction. You heard what the Jake said when he asked the Edomites. Basically, he said what? He said what? They think they're running from the nuclear missiles from Russia. Hey, that's prophecy. Let's rewind this back.
Dollars a month, yes.
And you can get a pretty nice apartment and everything here?
Yes.
And what do the Mexicans think about all the Americans that are moving here into Mexico City?
Well, so far, you know, I've been meeting people from United States, and they told me, you know, they're scared, you know, to Russia bombing United States, actually.
And this is exactly what's going to happen. So some of these Edomites, they wiser than Jake, you know. In the scriptures say, hey, in fact, let me get that. Let me see if I can get that. Children of the soul are wiser than the children of light. I didn't even know this was in there. All right. So all this is the Spirit of the Lord. All right, the Spirit of the Lord. All praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right, Luke 16:8. Let's get that. All right, this is the book of Luke, chapter 16 and verse 8. It says what? And the Lord commended the unjust steward, because he had done wisely. For the children of this world are in their generation wiser than the children of light. That these heathens, they know more than Jake, you Jakes. When you Jakes, why you Jakes partying, being daughters of music, and your wickedness, these Edomites are fleeing away from Babylon the Great. They're getting away. They're trying to flee. And this is what it is. Right? So, some of you being deported, going out, is because you're not supposed to be burnt up in that lake of fire, that those nuclear missiles are going to hit from Russia and China and the other nations from around the world. And all these protests, are a sign of the times. They are a sign that, the Esau Edom's world, or his age, the age of Esau, the age of the heathen is coming to an end. Right? Because, the violence against these devils, it was unheard of before. These Zacharias weren't doing that. All right? Because, Esau had that mark on him, the mark of Cain on him, that, basically that nobody will be able to touch him. All right? But now that's coming to an end. So guess what? That's proof that, the curses, the Esau's then that's proof that the curses are being taken off of Jake and starting to come onto these heathens. It's about to take place. Everything is coming into effect. All right? Okay? So Jake know. It's slack the heathen know. Chief none understand. They understand a certain level of prophecy. All right? That Russia is about to bomb America. All right? That evil thought. In fact, before I go to those other precepts, I'm jumping a little bit all over the place, but let me go here. Ezekiel 38. All right, Gog and Magog, which are going into Russia. All right, Chief Prince. The Lord gonna put hooks in his jaw and bring him back. And they're gonna come against her. Right, and they're gonna invade America basically. All right, let me see if I could find this part here. Right, Ezekiel 38 and 10. Thus saith the Lord power. It shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, go into Russia, the Russians' mind, right, which we believe will be Putin, will be at the helm of Russia, right? And thou shalt think an evil thought, right, a wicked scheme. That thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, which is what? America. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey and to fucking AI, right? It says to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations, which have gotten cattle and goods that dwell in the midst of the land. So, this is what the Lord is going to ordain. All right, the Lord has put it in mind, going back into what, Revelation 17 and 17. The Lord put it in his mind to fulfill his will, right? This is Revelation 17 and 17. For power had put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of power shall be fulfilled. So the Lord is going to put it in their hand, in the mind of Russia too, to come against America. All right? So when you read down, it basically tells you that, they're going to come against his land, the land of Israel as well. All right? And, the Lord is going to use Russia, as a sword against Babylon the Great. All right, let me see if I can find this there. All right, when shall be sanctified in thee, O Gog. Let's see if you could find that here. Shall I see the land, so the fish is taken, shall shake, and I will hold for a sword against him. All right, I will plead for him the pestilence and blood. Let's go here. In fact, I think that's it. Hold on here. Shall be sanctified. Let's see if I can get this here. Just missing it. Sanctified. Sanctified in thee, O Gog. I believe that's it. HAV. Right. That's it. Verse 16. Oh, it's just missing. I was missing it. Right, here we go. So, Ezekiel 38 and verse 14, therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto Gog, thus saith the Lord power, in that day when my people of Israel dwelleth safely, where they dwell in Babylon the Great, America, shalt thou not know it? And thou shalt come out of thy place, out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, because, Russia's in the north, right? The permafrost and all that kind of shit. Says, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, and that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O Gog, before their eyes. Alright? So we're going to go against the land of Israel, and they're going to go against the Israelites, who in America. And basically, they're going to be, America is going to be a giant altar for the sacrifice of the Lord. Alright? Russia being that knife, that sacrificial knife. Alright? To do the great slaughter. Okay? But the point is, in this video here that we watched earlier, alright, basically it say, on a live a gringo. Alright? So the Lord is bringing back that enmity that for Esau, that ancient enmity, which are sign at the end, a sign that we come in full circle. Right? Deuteronomy chapter 30, verse 7. It's not new under the sun. It says, and the Lord thy power will put all these curses upon thine enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecuted thee. So they're gonna be sad to be persecuted. Because why? We drank of that cup, they're gonna have to also drink of the cup. Right? That's passing on to them, right? Lamentations 4, verse 21. Right? It says what? Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. But the curse says, right, thou shalt be drunken and shall make thyself naked. That's what's happening right now. They're being stripped naked, they're being stripped bare. You've seen all the iniquity and the wickedness that they've been doing. Right? Micah 2:1, going to different lands and taking it by violence, just like Mexico. That's what they do now, basically gentrification. Alright? Throwing the natives out. Pretty much to take over eventually. Alright? For their own benefit, right? It says, the punishment of thine iniquities accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. So their sins are about to be discovered. Alright, they're about to be revealed. So they basically is on shit, and these devils know it. That's why they come and they flee into Mexico and other countries. They're going back to Europe, other places, to get away from, the missiles, and to get a better standard of living. Because Babylon is through. In fact, let me get one more and I'll close this out. Jeremiah chapter 51 and verse 7. It says, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Here, Babylon is getting the recompense. Babylon had been a golden cup in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Right? Same way, the Mexicans are mad. Right? Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain, if so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, so there ain't no balm, ain't no stimulus money you go pump into the economy just now. It's about to fail. Alright, the economy is about to fail. Right? They said, if when they said Trump is trying to fire Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve. If that happens, that's gonna have a negative effect on the value of the US dollar. Alright? Basically, it could crash the economy because of lack of confidence in the US dollar, right? So things are getting real, things are heating up. Right? Jeremiah 51 and 9, it says we would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country, right? And for her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies, right? So her judgment, she's going to be through. She's going to be pelted with nuclear missiles. Just as they say, if they're fleeing for their life. Right, to Wadayaba Shim Yahushai. Till the next time, Shalom, Waharag, Babal.